we're going to jump into kind of a quick little deck that gets really into the nitty gritty of UV1K. So the theme behind this is cut the noise, right? There was so much going on, and like Chris said, just chaos. We really wanted to just come in, cut the noise, and just if you wanted the best possible arrow, how can you get it? Um, and why UV1K is, like I said, we were very frustrated with the current state of arrows in the industry at large. Whether you're a dealer, whether you're a consumer, whether you're a distributor, people commonly know this category as being very high SKU, very confusing, and it is really just quite the mess. And so there was a lot that we wanted to solve when we started developing this product, and it was very clear that out of the gate, we could not do this by ourselves. We needed to find an arrow partner, and not just any arrow partner, but the best arrow partner. And so we immediately reached out to Victory. I remember I was walking up to Steve Greenwood at the ATA show. I was nervous, and I said, "Hey, Steve, I got a crazy idea." And he was fully on board first second, and we jumped right in, and it's been a great partnership ever since. And the goal was just to make the best bow hunting arrow, period. And how we achieved this goal is we looked at the entire arrow from nock to point as a system. And every single part from nock to the point was designed to work together. And this achieved two things. One, it simplifies everything. You don't have to worry about any componentry compatibility. And two, you can squeeze out every little ounce of performance because every component is designed with the other one in mind. And you're not piecing together parts that were made without the other one at all being considered. And so digging into, like I said, the nitty-gritty details of 1K is, the highlight really is this 1K carbon shaft. I mean, the arrow is named after this carbon weave. And a 1K carbon is an ultra high performance weave. You typically see it used in aerospace. It's used in a lot of very high-end car manufacturing. And the story is 100% true. We went to Victory and we asked just what's the best material? And they're like, well, we got this 1K material, but it's kind of hard to get your hands on it. And, it's a little, it's a little more expensive than normal. And we're like, nope, we're going to figure it out. Let's go get it. And when we got our first production shafts off the line, it was pretty clear that this 1K material really stands up to being ultra high performing. And so why is this 1K so high performing is because you can see it's a little more condensed as a weave. The checkered boards of carbon are a lot smaller. And so what you're getting, one, is a material that is much easier to work with. When they're laying these shafts up in the factory, it's just a lot more of a supple material. It's a lot easier to work with. And it's also the ratio of pre-preg to carbon is really, really high. And these arrows are only coming in 1,007-inch straightness grade because those are the only straightness shafts that are coming out of the line. To my knowledge, every arrow that comes out of manufacturing is traditionally sorted into straightness grades. And when we got the first initial data out of this run of 1Ks, I think the number was something as crazy as like in the high 90s of 001 straightness. So straight out of the press, these arrows are some of the straightest anyone has ever seen. And you're also getting a very high durable weave that's extremely light. And the cool thing when it comes to performance as a bow hunter is your post-shot stabilization. So what I mean by that is how long does it take the arrow in flight to stabilize after it's been shot out of the bow? And with our initial tests, we took the same spine arrow, we took many different arrows, all the same spine, and we looked at how long it takes that to recover. And UV1K recovers twice as fast as the closest competitor that we compared it against. The performance is absolutely amazing. Digging into the size, the 4.5 millimeter. So when we realized that we were designing this arrow as a whole system, we didn't realize it at first, but uh, once we got down the rabbit hole, we kind of had an epiphany and realized, well, if we're designing it as a whole system, everything you need comes in the box. You don't need to really worry about compatibility. We can design the optimal size arrow for performing as a great bow hunting arrow, for performing with this 1K material. And that's exactly what we did. And when we started looking at all the different sizes, 4.5 millimeters was just the highest performing. And speaking to victory, we believe that's also another reason why they're just so straight, is because it has something to do with the ratio of inside diameter, wall thickness of the carbon, and the OD in combination with this 1K shaft. It just all works together as one system fantastically well. And the good news is you don't have to, go find 4.5 millimeter nocks. There is a collar on the back end of the shaft, so it does accept all 4 millimeter components. And we have identified halo nocks as the ideal lighted nock to use with this arrow. We tested all 4 mil lighted nocks on the market, and we were very impressed with what halo nocks had to provide. And so that is what we are going to recommend for lighted nocks on the back end. But overall, it's a micro diameter shaft. If you hold this 1K in your fingers with a 4 millimeter shaft right next to it, you can hardly feel the difference in the outside diameter. And yet you're getting a much larger ID, so your components are also ultra durable as a result. And really one of the cool things we did as well is we just, from the complete ground up, designed the most optimal vane for this shaft and for use with a broadhead. And the really interesting thing behind this vane is the way in which it was manufactured. Is it's injection molded. Most vanes are ribbon cut, so it's extruded material and they just get stamped out. And one of the unique things you can do if you injection mold the vanes is you can design in 3 dimensions. You're not just constrained to working in 2 dimensions. And so with being able to work in 3 dimensions, we were able to emboss the inside of the vane, so you can see there it's cupped out a little bit. And A, it helps with aerodynamics. B, for the same amount of surface area on that vane, you have a much less material that you need to use. And so it just works extremely well. They steer broadheads very, very good, and they look great. And even little benefits of injection molding is the edges, the front 2 tips and the back 2 tips of the vanes that are typically 90 degrees and razor sharp and pointy and can catch on things. We have rounds on them. We have fillets. They're nice and smooth. So, even if you shoot through a target, the chances of a vane peeling off is a lot lower. And so these vanes are absolutely amazing. They're all coming on every single UV1K. And every time I've shown this arrow to somebody behind closed doors, one of the first things they notice is the vane, and they just can't forget about it. So we're super pumped about these vanes that come on every single 1K. And kind of the big thing that I keep preaching here is it's designed as one system. And so everything was designed to work together. Everything comes in the box. All of these arrows are coming hand-fletched in the box, ready to rock and roll. They're all coming full length, uncut, with the components in the box. Even down to the field point, you can see here that there's an O-ring on the field point, so it always stays tight in the shaft. They're PVD coated. PVD is an ultra premium coating. It's very durable. And so every little tiny detail was just overbuilt to the max, and these things are absolutely killer. Fully fletched, cut full length, which is a standard. I think it's just a 1/16 of an inch or so over 31 inches. And then all of your components Your outserts, your points are down here at the bottom. And ready to rock and roll right out of the box here. So speaking of the box, everybody loves their boxes. The unique thing about this 1K box is you can see behind me, they look great at retail. They all come with a premium retail hang tag, and these things can be used as an arrow tube or a carrier. I mean, we spent a lot of time designing the box around these arrows so that it was as small, as condensed, and as protective as you could get. And as typical, it's typical UV style. You got a very solid magnetic closure. So I'm very, very excited about this because I'm all about the user experience. And these arrows really just crank that knob to 11. And like I've said 100 times, everything you need comes in the box. There's nothing else that you or your customer has to worry about. Our UV1K factory fletched with the high spine. Yes. So you won't be able to see it on the video, but to answer that question in full force, the cock feather or the top feather is fletched in alignment with spine align. And another note on that is these are all hand fletched. These don't get thrown into a machine and they're glued together in the machine. Every single one of these arrows is hand fletched by Victory, and their quality is absolutely out of control. I mean, they have such a great attention to detail. I had never seen anything like it. And what insert would you recommend? Any particular ones to avoid based on testing? What insert weld do you recommend? I'm not sure what that pertains to, but in regards to inserts, I can grab one out of here. All of the components and inserts that you need are right in here. So what would you recommend? I'm going to recommend, that just came back through. What insert would you recommend? Any particular ones to avoid? I mean, this is a 4.5 millimeter shaft. So there should not be an insert on the market that works with these other than the one that comes in the box. But the insert is standard to Victory's inserts. It has a dual material design. So the inside core is a very durable stainless steel, and the outside is 75 aluminum. And you can kind of see it here. All of these will come in the box right below the arrows, ready to just be epoxied in. So all you have to do is take them on the shelf, cut them to length, epoxy in the outsert. The field point already comes installed on the outsert, and then you can put them back in this box, hand them to the customer, and you're done. We got a question here. Yes, so what jig is being used to fletch these? And if someone needs to refletch, can we buy vanes? So a Bitzenberger jig is being used to fletch these 1K arrows at Victory's facility. Don't quote me on the exact helical, but I believe it's a 2-degree left helical that is on these. So for anybody that has a Bitzenberger, they should be able to match it pretty easily. And in regards to buy vanes separately for refletch, what we're going to be doing is selling refletch kits. And so in a refletch kit, what you will find are 7 wraps. So actually, I haven't really touched much on the wrap yet, but all these arrows come pre-wrapped as well, with this stark white wrap, which has this really awesome looking chevron shape to it. So a refletch kit will come with 7 wraps. In case you mess one up, you have a backup. And I believe it's something like 20. I think it's 20 vanes. So in a 6-pack, you can 3-fletch them, and you can refletch an entire 6-pack to the same setting that you had before. Have something else on that too. We do not, yeah, that's what it is. We would not recommend, just for consistency's sake, personally, I mean, I guess you can do whatever you want, but personally, I would not recommend fletching just 1 or 2 arrows at a time. Your consistency in matching exact helicals is going to be very difficult. So I imagine a lot of people will just be refletching entire six packs all at once, all at one time to maintain consistency across their arrow build. Another question here. This is a good one. So what is the GPI for each spine? And just so I don't mess this up, I got a cheat sheet. The 250 spine arrow has a 10 even GPI. The 300 spine has an 8.7 GPI, and the 350 has an 8.0 GPI. And one of the unique things we got with this 1K material is we were able to get a relatively low GPI for a micro diameter shaft. Typically what you see is 4 mil shafts have a higher GPI because the wall thickness has to be so thick. They got to pack more material in for the same spine. So a lot of these GPIs are very competitive with or even below 5 millimeter GPI specs. Are there any fletching options, 3 or 4 fletch? So for the foreseeable future, UV1Ks will come only in this 3 fletch design here, left helical with the UV1K vein. And we've spent a lot of time ensuring that even with fixed blade broadheads, that this setup out to pretty long distances works very, very well. I gotta scroll here. Thanks. What degree fletch? Let me check my specific notes. I don't think it's on there. Although off the top of my head, I do believe it was a 2 degree. It's not on my cheat sheet. I'm pretty confident in my answer. It's a 2 degree left helical fletch. If it's not, it will be referenced on our PDP. It will be referenced in the final marketing material that gets sent your way. So just make sure you double check that. And I have a note here that it is 2 degree left. So looks like that is correct. Late to the game. Will these be available in bare shafts? So these will not be available in bare shafts. And I think that's pretty important because one of the ethoses behind this entire product was creating the most simple and highest performing arrow as possible. And the only way that you can achieve that is keeping it as one system in one box. And so for the foreseeable future, these will all be coming straight from us, just as you see them here. Fully fletched, full length, in a box of 6 packs. Just a note here, I think maybe a question. So there's 3 SKU options, which are the spines, 250, 300, 350 spine, all V1, all 001 straightness, and they are all coming to you guys full length, which Victory's full length is 31 inches or so. So all that you guys got to do is cut them down to length, put the outsert in, put them back in the box, which also doubles as an arrow tube or carrier for those of you who are late. And then that customer's ready to rock and roll. Got a note here that Victory Black Fusion Glue is our recommended outsert glue. So there's probably a question on recommended outsert glue. I know Victory is using their Black Fusion Glue at the factory, and so that would be our recommendation. And the outsert is a 75 grain outsert, and the field point is a 100 grain field point, which that reminds me, one of the things I could do here, this is the front of the box. You can see I have some of them behind me, and this is the back of the box, which it has a lot of great information on it. It runs through our custom molded veins. It talks about the wrap that comes on all of the shafts. These have Victory's ice coating on them as well. And it speaks to the 4.5 millimeter optimal size of the arrow. And at the bottom here, it runs through all of those details on point weight and outsert weight. So to clarify again, It's a 75 grain outsert, dual material, stainless steel core, aluminum outsert. So it's super durable. And then the field point is a custom UV field point with a always tight O-ring system and a PVD coating. So all of that is also on the back of the box to answer questions right on the retail floor. When will these arrows be available to order, and what is the lead time? So the arrows are available to order for you guys immediately after this call. So all of our sales reps will be at the ready. Maybe be patient with them. There may be a lot of calls or emails coming in very, very quickly. But we are ready immediately after this call. We are ready to take orders. We will be publicly announcing our partnership with Victory today, but just that we have partnered with Victory, not a detail more. Everything that I have discussed, once again, to clarify, is completely confidential until the official launch date of August 1st. So you guys can get these orders in ASAP. And the lead time is we're going to work really hard, the best we can, to get as many of these to all of you pre-launch or on launch day. Our goal is to make sure that something gets to everybody so that everybody at least has one box to show their customers, although we do have a good amount of shipments coming in from Victory. So get your orders in and make sure you not only just get your first order in, but you're going to want to make sure you get a couple out in the future as well, because if it's anything like a normal UV product launch, it could be August 2nd and there may not be another 6-pack left, on Earth. So make sure you stay ahead of it. Are UV 1K vane sleeves available or just the vane? 5-degree helical versus straight option sleeves wraps. Yeah. So I think the question is, are UV 1K wraps available or just the vane? We don't have a plan on selling the wraps or the vanes kind of separately. How we're going to be selling, grab one. How we're going to be selling, what is the wrap and the vane is together in a refletch kit. And so the refletch kit, once again, is 7 wraps, and I think it's 20 vanes, just enough to do 6-pack arrows. And 5-degree helical versus straight option, they come with a 2-degree left helical. If you would like to refletch them, the world is your oyster. You can fletch them however you would like. In our testing, we found that a left-degree Tula helical performed the best, but everybody's setup is a little different. So if you'd like to, you can refletch them however you'd like. So yeah, a note on the left helical actually is for on why left helical performs really, really well is if you're a right-handed shooter, it actually helps with reducing face contact. Face contact's a big deal. Any amount of face contact provides a huge amount of inconsistency downrange in your groups. And so left helical works really great for right-handed shooters, and it's optimized for most bows. So a lot of bows, Matthews as an example, twist their strings in a certain direction such that when you shoot, the arrow's already biased to twist in a certain direction. And so we match most major bow manufacturers with their left helical preference. And that's why we picked a 2-degree left. Just another question here clarifying. Is it just a 6-pack of arrows? Yes, they all come in 6-packs. And do you offer different weight inserts? So currently right now, we don't. It comes just as a 75 grain outsert with a 100 grain UV custom field point. So the question, is there enough supply so the small business pro shops will get their order at the same time as Shields or other large retailers. So short answer on that one's yes. We have pallets of these things coming to our facility actually right now. So Steve Greenwood from Victory called me up last night and he said they're on the truck. So they're coming to our facility right now. They should land at our facility at some point next week. So over the next several days, we're hoping to get orders in from you guys. And then we're going to be working our tails off, like I said earlier, to get as many six packs out to as many dealers as possible. Our goal is to get at least something to everybody. So it's very likely that you guys will get these arrows very, very close to launch. And so, I don't want to promise anything because of freight times and a whole bunch of crazy things seem to be happening lately in America. So, but it's pretty likely that anyone that gets an order in will at least get something pre-launch. Oh yeah, this is a pretty cool detail, and it's honestly a little unbelievable. All six packs come weight sorted, and every arrow in the six pack is within half a grain. So the arrows within this six pack are weight sorted to within half a grain of each other. Half a grain is almost incomprehensible how light that is. So Victory's quality control standards there are quite honestly unbelievable, but they're doing it. When will we be able to order them? Right now. So like I said, immediately after this call, we're going to be taking purchase orders from all of our dealers. Like I said, maybe be a little patient with your sales rep. There may be a tsunami of communication coming in. They're going to get to you guys' POs or as soon as possible. And like I said, we're going to work really hard to make sure as many dealers get something pre-launch or very, very, very close to launch. And reminder once again, all of this is confidential until August 1st. So ensure that nothing is communicated about this until August 1st. August 1st is the official launch date. That is when we will publish everything about this product. And we take that pretty seriously. And if we're able, if there is a leak, we're going to work really hard to figure out how that happened. And we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that does not happen in the future. So we trust all of you guys. All of you have buy-in. We're all in this together. And so I trust that we're going to keep this confidential. And I got a fun note here. PJ Riley, thank you for joining this call. PJ made the call. The knock is in, yeah, so to clarify, although the shaft is a 4.5 millimeter shaft, the back end componentry accepts 4 millimeter componentry because there's no way you'll be able to see it here or there, but there is a collar. So the collar necks it down to 4 mil. So they take an AAE IP knock. And when it comes to lighted knocks, which was a big deal for us, we had to find a good lighted knock. And thankfully, there is a good one out there now. And we are recommending Halo knocks as the appropriate lighted knock for UV1K. How much does the outsert weigh? The outsert is 75 grains. How soon will they be in our shop? Pending shipping. So we literally have a truck from Victory en route to UltraView right now. It shipped a day early, so there's good news there. But pending shipping, we'll get those in at some point next week. We're going to be working our tails off to repackage them into your orders next week and the week following so that you guys can get these hopefully before August 1st. I think it's likely a lot of you will, pending everybody knows how shipping is. So like I said, the goal is to get as many of these to as much of you as possible, ensuring that everyone that gets an order gets at least something. Got a note here from Taylor. I think he wants me to clarify. We have tested left single bevel broadheads with our left helical, and they perform very well. That makes sense, right, Pedro? So yeah, to Taylor just wants me to clarify they tested left bevel broadheads with the fletch, and they performed extremely well. All right, well, I got a note here that those were all the questions. Thanks, Taylor, for getting in there and clarifying a lot of those Q&As and feeding them to me. And with that, guys, that is the end of our first of probably many private dealer showcasings of new products. I'm super pumped with how this went. We kind of had the idea last second. The team here got everything set up. I mean, it looks great. They hit it out of the park. They just threw me in the seat here and said, talk about the product, and they killed it. So we're super pumped to get these orders in from you guys. Just to reiterate some things here, these will be available for purchase from you at the dealers immediately. This is all to remain confidential. We take it very seriously. If there's a leak, we're going to work really hard to figure out how it leaked, and we're going to ensure that it does not happen again. And so keep that in mind. And I'll close with the official launch date. The official public announcement of UV1K is to take place on August 1st, 8/1. The time is to be determined, but nothing is to be posted on this until UltraView gets all of our marketing assets out onto our native platforms, and that will be the spark and the catalyst of what will be a tsunami of orders and people coming into your stores to try to get their hands on what is the absolute future and the absolute best arrow ever developed for bow hunting. Thank you all for joining, and we'll be hearing from you all very soon.